Hey there, Wargamers. We're back again with some more deliciousness from the brand new Dark Angels Codex. And in this video we're going to be talking about the fast attack, which, as all of you know, is pretty much all constituted by the section of the army known as the Raven Wing. So the first entry is actually a rather complex entry, the Raven Wing Attack Squadron, mostly because it can consist of up to 3 different types of units in the same entry. So you start out with 3 bikes, just normal bikes. These are the ones that you get in the Dark Vengeance box. They're loaded out with a Marine on power armor with bolt pistol and a twin-link bolt gun on the front of the bike. And then on top of that you get the normal grenades loadout, frag and crack, and you get a teleport homer, which is nice because if you're pairing it up with your Deathwing, you get some synergy there. They can teleport down within a certain radius of it and not scatter at all. Very nice. As standard for every Marine, they get And They Shall Know No Fear, Grim Resolve, which is a special rule for this book, which we've covered in other videos up to this point, but just to fill you in, I think you get Stubborn, and you get basically the downside to it is that you can't ever choose to fail a morale test. So the only way to fail is actually rolling and failing. I think that's how that works. You also get Hit and Run, so you can leave combat if you pass a leadership test, and you can also combat squad these troops here. So you can increase your squad with up to 3 additional ones to bring it up to 6. You can also purchase an attack bike, which is kind of the tricycle thing. It's a bike with sidecar and a second Marine that has a heavy weapon. So the heavy weapon that you can mount in that sidecar are, let's see here. You start out with a heavy bolter, and you can upgrade to
a multi-melta.
A multi-melta. There we go. This is 2 options: heavy bolter, multi-melta. And if you fill out your entire squad up to 6, you don't have to take the bike, the attack bike, but if you get 6 of the normal bikes in there, then you have the option of actually taking another entry from the fast attack choice list here, the Raven Wing Support Squadron, which is a single land speeder, and injecting it into that force organizational slot. Now, one note that I will make here is that this land speeder does not actually need to stay in coherency with the bikes. It's its own thing. It operates like its own unit. You just get to cram it into one force organization slot. Now, if you wanted to take more land speeders without taking more bikes, you could simply just take those by themselves. They take up a force organization slot in the fast attack group by themselves, so you can just buy them by themselves. So the last bike squadron that you have in the fast attack section is a brand new entry for the army. Never before seen. This is the Raven Wing Black Knights, and these are like the elite versions of the normal troops on bikes. They have some slightly different loadouts. They're more close combat oriented. At least they're heavier hitting in close combat. You do get the Plasma Talon, which is essentially a twin-linked plasma gun stuck to the front of the bike, and they get a Corvus Hammer. Each one of them comes standard with a Corvus Hammer, which is a normal close combat weapon, except that it gets rending and +1 to strength. So you're pretty much guaranteed to up your wounding there. You know, +1 to strength, so you're more likely there. And when you roll on 6s to hit, you auto wound like rending does. Anyway, one note to make about these guys is that the new box that you can make these from also makes the command squad for an HQ. You can make the Raven Wing Command Squad, and you can make the Black Knights, but you cannot make the Raven Wing Attack Squadron, which is the normal bikes. You don't have the bolt guns that go on the front, and all the weaponry is different there. So you'll have to buy the old box, and the current battle force for Dark Angels is a Raven Wing box, and actually represents a fully loaded out Raven Wing Attack Squadron with the attached Raven Wing support squadron, which is the land speeder. So just keep that in mind. That's essentially one force organizational unit for the fast attack if you're looking to pick up the battle force. It's a really nice box set, and honestly, coming in at a base of just shy of 300 points, it's a good way to bolster your model count and some good close combat effectiveness on the field. I'm going to hand off the book to Chris here, who's going to talk about some of the other new models.
Well, we're going to first start off with the Ravenwing Dark Shroud. We have often coined the term the Dark Angel Cadillac.
Yeah.
This is not the one with the stereo system or plasma battery, as they like to call it. This is more of the shrine-looking one. I believe it has two rules right off the bat that kind of sell it. The first one's called Icon of Old Caliban. Basically, whenever you're in assault combat, it gives you +1 to your assault points. So, I mean, you start off any combat phase with 1 if they're within 12 inches. And the second thing is, it has Shroud of Angels, which is a 6-inch bubble that it, 6-inch bubble that creates around itself. It grants itself Shroud, which is stackable apparently to Stealth, which is stackable to Jinx. So this vehicle itself can get pretty survivable, and it bolsters the things around it. So it's not going to do much on its own, but it's a nice piece to have there, but protecting everybody.
Yeah, running this with just pretty much anything else, some Terminators or anything else, is really going to give them that extra edge, especially against high damaging or low AP firepower. That's really going to take Terminators down. It's going to give them a decent cover save.
Next, coming in is Nephilim Jet Fighter. This is a pretty standard flyer. However, its loadout is pretty aggressive with weapon gear. It has twin-linked heavy bolters, twin-linked las cannon, and 6 missiles. And you can easily swap out the las cannons for more bolter fire, which
with strafing run,
yes,
pretty effective at just raking lots of infantry.
Yeah, and also it has another rule called Unrelenting Hunter, which if you do care to bring this gun against, vehicles, which you very well would like to, as they're on the ground, you can basically turn in a weapon destroyed result into an immobilized result. So right then it's pretty good at ground control, and
yeah,
I'm a huge fan of it already. Next is the Ravenwing Dark Talon. Like before, has kind of standard vehicle setup for stats. However, it has 2 Hurricane Bolters, a Rift Cannon, and a Stasis Bomb, which are impressive in themselves in the fact that their goal is to make your opponents hit less or not hit as hard.
Your goal with this ship is to essentially soften up the enemy while your assault troops are moving in for the kill. It's going to devastate their weapon skill across the board. So with the Rift Cannon, essentially what you want to do is you want to strafe your enemy and knock down their weapon skill and ballistic skill all the way down to the minimum, and then basically it's going to force a leadership test. An initiative test. So especially against units that are not particularly quick, like orcs and the like, or even Tau. I believe their initiative is pretty low. So being able to decrease their ballistic skill down to 1 is fantastic. Being able to run over them and just knock them basically back to either having to soak up all of their marker light tokens for the turn just to get a decent shot off at something, or making them completely ineffectual and useless for the turn. You can also use this against heavy melee troops to soften them up right before your Deathwing sweeps in and lays some hurt on them, just to knock them down to weapon skill 1. It's going to be so easy to beat them up and not receive any wounds in return if you can get them down to weapon skill 1. So against low initiative troops in close combat like orcs, it's going to be very, very helpful and make you more survivable in close combat.
And in addition to this, basically the Ravenwing Dark Talon can also perform a strafing strike because it has a thing called Hover Strike, which allows it to gain the strafing run special ability. Honestly, out of all the fast attacks, I'm personally a fan of the Nephilim Jet Fighter with the Avenger loadout, just because that many shots just sounds delightful.
And add a bonus to ballistic skill too while you're making a strafing run.
Oh yeah. And strangely enough, I'm a big fan of the rules for the Dark Shroud, model.
Yeah.
But
in fact, I think that we're going to have to, as a public service, get one of those, even though we don't have any intent of using one in our upcoming studio army, and just show you guys how you can convert one to maybe look not quite as terrible as GW has made it in the standard box.
And if you give us 150 likes on this, we will paint it bubblegum pink.
I don't know if I can keep to that promise, but
we get 150 likes.
If we get 150 likes, we might have to get one and paint it bubblegum pink. Okay. All right, fine. I will accept your challenge, sir. Fair enough. Okay, so what else do we have in the fast attack section? I feel like we have at least one more thing in there, don't we?
I mean, we have the assault squad, but I mean,
that's on the next page.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's pretty much it. Actually, we've got the 2 new fighters. We've got the 2 bike squads. We have the land speeder that can be part of the initial Ravenwing attack squadron, and we have the jump infantry. So lots of really new tasty models in there, including the brand new Ravenwing Black Knight set, and all of the new jet fighters, and I'm sorry, the other hover tanks, the what's it called, the Dark Shroud, and
oddly enough, the Vengeance is strangely enough a heavy.
Okay, well that makes sense though. I mean, it's essentially a heavy hover tank with that big blasty plasma storm battery thing. So anyway, we'll save that for the heavy support section. But lots of cool stuff on the horizon for this. I feel like a lot of the really juicy parts of this army can be found in fast attack and the elites. But then again, that's probably pretty true for most armies. Yeah. So anyway, thank you very much for watching. This has been another segment for our Dark Angels week. Check out the other videos that we've done so far. We've done an HQs and an elite section, as well as an overview, our first reactions to the Codex as a whole. We did an hour-long special live, answered some questions, and just got us kicked off on Friday night of this past week. Check out those videos and all the other ones that we've produced here at Brush for Hire. If you're interested in setting up a commission with us, get in touch with us at brushforhire@minis@gmail.com. You can also get in touch with us on our contact page at brushforhire.com.
Remember, 150 gets us a bubblegum pink night shroud.
Okay.
Who doesn't want to see that? And
I get it. I can't let you keep making promises for me, man.
That's the only one I'm...
Alright, fair enough. Thanks, guys, and we'll see you in the next video. Until then, happy wargaming.